So welcome everybody to another episode of the Brewmasters Club cast. Here is what you have to look forward to in tonight's episode.
There was a banana sticker on my foot this whole time. Romaine beers are off the charts.
There's like one farmer that's with a clipboard and like a lab coat, and he's sitting somewhere in like Iowa, and he's like, dump all the romaine right now. And it's like Chernobyl, and there's the big red flashing button. And he's like, dump it, just dump it.
There's nowhere to dump it.
I love romaine lettuce. This is Iceberg's lettuce way of trying to get back into being cool.
Kale is sitting there like,
okay,
yes,
Kale is doing
good.
You think it was an inside job, like Kale framed romaine? The crouton guys were like, I don't want to get involved in this.
Crouton's a mutual friend. It's okay.
But they're selling to both sides.
That's what I'm saying. They're double dipping.
I want to know how salad dressing feels about this because
salad dressing is like, hey man, listen, we'll support whoever we can. We just need to get past this.
We're ready to cover this up.
Oh, that was a good joke though.
Feast your peepers.
We're
Rocket
Red Rocket. No, Red Rocket.
No, would you guys?
It was
stop?
Definitely not Red Rocket.
Yeah, could you please stop and also Google that later?
It was Team Rocket. It was just
Team Rocket.
Good night, everybody.
I like that.
I hate you. You crazy mother.
Welcome to the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. Sit back, pour yourself a pint, and let's get into it. Now here's the founder of the Brewmasters Club and your host, Donnie Gallagher.
Welcome, craft beer. My name is Donnie. This is the official podcast of Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News, where we talk about national stories, local flavors, and our favorite geeky nuggets of pop culture. Who could speak to all these topics and more? None other than myself, Donnie, Mr. Lousman to my left. How are you?
Doing good.
And of course, Brood Boy 813, Rye Guy. How are you?
Better late than never, but I am here.
That is true. All right, well, it's good to see all of you, and I hope you guys are excited. But as we get into things, before we do, let's do a little cold opener. How are you guys doing, Ryan? You weren't on the cast last week. It was last episode. It was our 80th episode. Thank you for being sick and not showing up.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry for that. I did not feel that I would do
it's all right.
the fans out there justice, nor you guys if I was just sick and hacking away and all that other stuff. I did not feel good. So sorry about that. But I'm much better now.
Well, that's good. What I was getting at is that it's basically been 4 weeks essentially since you've been on the podcast last. So like, what have you been up to, man? Like, what have you been doing?
Oh my gosh,
that's nigh a month.
Besides
nigh
work,
a month.
I have nigh a month. Besides working the kids and getting ready for Thanksgiving and all those other fun things, I have been brewing beer. So, which I'm looking forward to share that here in a minute.
What kind of beer are you brewing? What have you been doing over the last 4 weeks? Not what do you have tonight, but what have you been actually brewing?
Well, I have a beautiful Belgium ready for the holidays, ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Would you guys like to go ahead and get into that segment, or? Because I could tell you all the other fun little things, but that's what's been few and far between.
Those don't sound that fun. They don't sound that fun.
They don't sound that fun.
No.
They don't sound that fun. Well, besides football, you gotta have that.
Football's always fun for you, but
yeah.
Mr. Lossman, let's see if any other breaking news that you want to touch on right now. You want to get into our famous segment? What are you drinking? What are you going to drink?
Is it to pour out all of your romaine tasting beers?
I heard about that.
Yeah, I did too. Everybody's freaking out about romaine.
Romaine beers are off the charts.
I just imagine like a guy. There's like one farmer that's with a clipboard and like a lab coat, and he's sitting somewhere in like Iowa, and he's like, dump all the romaine right now. And it's like Chernobyl, and there's the big red flashing button. And it's like, and he's like, dump it, just dump it.
There's nowhere to dump it.
I love romaine lettuce.
I do
you need
too.
to go to a farm.
I feel like this is Iceberg's lettuce way of trying to get back into being cool.
Kale is sitting there like,
okay,
yes,
Kale is doing
good.
You think it was an inside job, like Kale framed romaine?
Iceberg and Kale got together.
Kale got
ahead,
a brand new. Kale got a brand new PR agency, and they're like, "Listen, we're gonna totally f those those lettuce effers."
The crouton guys are like, I don't want to get involved in this.
Crouton's a mutual friend. It's okay.
But they're selling to both sides.
That's what I'm saying. They're double dipping.
They're
like,
calling Romaine. They're like, "Hey, it's okay, I understand." And then they're like, "Yeah, Iceberg, you're gonna take over. So
they're like
remember me."
Kanto Bite from the Last Jedi. They're selling to both sides. There's X-wings and there's TIE fighters, and they're all coming out of the same facility. It's messed up, man. It's messed up.
I want to know how salad dressing feels about this because
Salad dressing is like, hey man, listen, we'll support whoever we can. We just need to get past this. That's all they're trying to do. They're going frozen. They're like, hey, frozen stuff's so good. Do you really need salad? Let's get it done.
we're ready to cover this up.
Okay. Oh, that was a good joke though.
Appreciate that.
Salad dressing does cover things up. All right, can we move on, please? Can we just keep going?
Sure. Let's address something else.
Yes. Yes. Great. This is great. I can only imagine what the first 15 minutes without me was like.
Not that great.
It was like this, but worse. That's it.
Gosh, missing one episode is like forever in
it's a month,
isn't it?
It's a month for us. Well, we try to put as much content as we can out there, but we've been strategically trying to do it every 2 weeks just to to make sure that nobody loses their mind over editing or work or life and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so no, yeah. Why don't you just kick it off, Ryan? What are you drinking? What are you going to drink?
I am riding the big Kona wave for you gentlemen out there because Publix has a great deal on that for the holidays. But my most special Belgium brew that I think I've ever done is absolutely fantastic. And I know, Donnie, you had some questions about it. But I'll go ahead and tell you fine folks out there that there is Technig and Saaz hops in this, along with a Pilsen Castle and a Pale Ale Crisp malt with a nice Belgium Abbey ale or yeast. And I use candied syrup, about 1 pound of candied syrup to really bring forth that Belgium flavor and connotation that we're always looking for. And I got to say, this is exactly what I wanted to be drinking whilst I eat Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. And nobody can take that away from me. So
wait. Can you hold it? So Ryan's holding a glass, but can you hold it up to the camera because it looks very dark? It looks very dark.
Well, it's actually got more of a red hue than what you would see right now.
Okay.
Maybe I can put a little light on my side just so we can see what that's like. Let's see here.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to know if it was supposed to be or you were trying to make it. You got to talk.
Can you see that?
Real good radio here.
Well, he asked me to hold it to the.
I didn't ask you to hold it to the light. I just wanted to see it a little closer. But no, it's fine. That's good. It does look red. You're right. So you're right. So what do you think made it look a little bit so dark, or were you shooting for that?
Well, I added some caramel. Did I forget to mention the caramel?
No, you said candied sugars, but
that was the candy sugar. But yeah, okay. No, there was a caramel malt in there as well. The Caramel Brie 60. So that's what gave it that red hue. I used about 1 pound of that in there. But man, this is one of my favorite beers that I brewed. I think Donnie, Louse Man, if you guys were to try this, you'd probably agree. I don't know if it's going to meet your expectations for the MIA beer that you like, Louse Man. Yeah, the Trappist Ale, but definitely a very good Belgium. I wouldn't say it's anything like the Unholy. I know, Donnie, you had mentioned something like that, but
and that's why I was asking, because it looked so much more red than the Unholy does. The Unholy is just it's like the perfect Belgian that I can pull this off the shelf, and I just love it. I love it so much. But it's funny that you said that, because I will also have one that I can compare to that, because I'm brewing my Belgian that I've had for weeks now. Yeah, I'm brewing it this weekend, so it should be awesome.
I want to try that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll bottle mine. Do you have any of yours bottled, or are you just kegging it?
What I'm doing is going real slow on this one. I've got a couple of empty Kona bottles because, again, they're buy one, get one at Publix right now. And I'm going to bottle a couple here and there. I'm actually going to take some up to brew tomorrow night and give some out, but also pour some. And but really, this is my holiday beer. I've been brewing for Gulfside Hospice. I brewed for Corey's Halloween party. I did a couple of other things, and this has just been like, hey, I haven't really brewed a beer for myself, but the holidays are coming up, so this is just kind of my way to say, hey, Ryan, you did good this year. Let's get ready for next year, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, good on you, man. But yeah, save me a bottle or half a bottle if you can. I'd love to.
I will.
I'd love to try it just because I will have mine in 2 weeks, and I want to see what your Belgium is compared to this one. And this is the first time I've actually made this one. But
Well, if you can swing by Brew tomorrow night, Donnie, I'll have one ready for you.
tomorrow night I probably will not be able to.
I know. So, but yeah, no, I will definitely save you one.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lousman, what do you got?
Ooh. So I went ahead and got just the one. Apparently, I didn't learn my lesson last time. I got just the one taster beer from Publix. Made sure the date was legit on this one. And I got the Sam Adams Winter Lager, their festive Bock beer, and it's actually really good. But I don't know why my voice cracked like that. But no, it says it's got orange peel, cinnamon, and ginger in it. Actually, there's not a whole lot of cinnamon in it, so I kind of really like it. You can taste the orange, and you can taste the the ginger in it a little bit. So I like it. It's pretty good. I just wanted something kind of wintry, and it said winter on it, even though it's not winter out in Florida anymore, which is sad.
Well, I think. Go ahead.
I said we had winter for like a day.
Well, it'll come back. It's not even the end of November yet, but I think we'll have at least 2 more months of one-day winters that are coming. Don't worry. But
surprisingly, I still have the doors open right now, so it's not too bad.
No, we could have ours open too. It isn't bad. It's really nice actually. It's been nice for weeks, but it'll only get nicer here for a bit. But no, Lost, the winter lager is always pretty good. It's like their Boston lager. Like it's just a fine drinking beer. Mm-hmm. They're at like the really peak threshold. In fact, I don't even know if they're still considered a craft beer in a brewery anymore, but
it says independent on the side, independent craft.
Sam Adams?
Yeah.
They've got to be right at the threshold, though.
Feast your peepers.
You know what I say though? I get it, but if they're not owned by anybody else, I still say independent. No matter how much they're brewing, let's keep it real. If you're not owned by anybody else, you're independent.
Well, they can be owned by somebody else as long as 25% more is not an alcohol-related company, I guess, is what it's saying. So,
that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah, we talk about this quite often. It's hard to
remember. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say like, oh, this is, that isn't, unless you get it all, kind of in your head. So 6 million. So in 2010 they raised their production from 2 to 6 million barrels to continue.
But is that of one style of beer?
No, it's not one style. It's the actual production. Yeah, their annual production.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was raised in 2010 just to keep Sam Adams in that regard. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's kind of a hazy area, but Sam Adams is still good stuff. So I always do get this stuff, and I do like the Boston Lager and I like the Winter Lager. So I'm all about it. One beer I don't like, which is definitely not a craft beer. Have you guys seen this one yet? Because if you're about to get it for your wives, I would say please don't. It's the Malibu beer. Have you had that? It is horrible.
Why would I?
Horrible.
Is it rum beer? Is that
it's lager with natural coconut flavor added, and it was $3.99 for a 6-pack at my local liquor store.
If you're just trying to get drunk and you want some coconut, that's where you go.
It is probably the worst beer I've had in a long time. It tastes like a full-leaded Corona that someone poured Malibu down the throat of to the point of gagging. Like it is really bad. It's really bad. Yeah, I got it. I got a 6-pack for Jenny, and I gave her one, and there's 5 still in the fridge, and that is the 5th one. So it was like a week ago or whatever when I found it, and I was like, I'll never get this again. But they had pallets of it for $3.99 a 6-pack, and
now you know why.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, Jenny's drinking Malibu before. That's nice. I don't get it because there was 3 strikes against it. It's like, oh, it's full calories, it's full whatever. So it's not a diet beer. So it's not like a chick beer, like it's not that. But it doesn't really taste like a Corona because it's so sweet and so artificial flavored that any dude that likes Corona is like, no, like I'll just take a Corona, maybe put a lime in it, not like an artificial. So 2 strikes. And then the 3rd strike is that it's just heavy. And it as soon as it gets like beyond 32 degrees, it's just nasty. It makes you want to throw up. It's really bad.
That sounds absolutely horrifying.
Really, so if anybody sees the Malibu lager, please do yourself a favor. And you could buy it if you want to throw it immediately in the trash can. It's real bad. It's real bad. This is what it looks like for anyone that's on the video, but it's really bad.
Ugh.
And it's the spirit of summer, and it came out on November 15th. So I saw it. I don't know. But the good news is I did bring a different beer.
Oh, thank God.
I also brought the Terrapin Luau, which I found out that there's a broader marketing campaign called the Crunkles. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
I actually have.
If you go to crunkles.com, do you know what this is? Because I don't. I was trying to Google it right before we started. What is
Is that with a K?
No.
Yeah, with a K.
Or
No,
is
it's
it?
with a K. Yeah,
Oh.
it's with a K.
I stumbled across that one time when I was researching something for this podcast. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember the project because I remember the name was hilarious.
There's like a bunch of different stories behind these Crunkles, and I don't understand.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
But why? Like, what is the deal? Why is there a story?
Well, I think they were just trying to give an origin for like the beer, right? Because each one's for a different beer.
Well, yeah, but is it there like a mystic? I don't know. Anyways, this beer is great. It's passion fruit orange guava IPA, and it actually comes out pretty good. It's 6.5% ABV, and it tastes and smells like the passion of summer Malibu coconut.
Smells like
lager.
Crunkles.
No. But it's an easy to drink IPA, and it's very smooth and it's very citrusy, but it's still got that like Hawaiian kind of kick to it. So I really liked it. It's the beer that Malibu Lager wants itself to be, and it's just not. So that beer sucks. Big old dongers. That's all I can say about it. But I love the Terrapin Luau Crunkles. I just don't get the Crunkle part. I wish I did. Like, it sounds like a fun story.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird story, but I remember reading about it. I think it has some notoriety.
It's like a kit. Yeah, it's part of the Crunkle series. I don't understand what the Crunkle is. The Crunkle series. Well, the Crunkles. Who are the Crunkles? So the Crunkles is a fictitious brewer who travels the world making creative IPAs. Other Crunkle offerings from Terrapin in the past have included Captain Crunkles, Dr. Crunkles, and others. Read more about the myth at www.crunkles.com. It's just bizarre.
But
I like it.
The Crunkles.
I actually do like the story. I like how there's a possibility that there's more to this thing. So I'm all about it. I just don't get it yet, but we'll figure it out. I do like Terrapin and most everything they make out of Athens, Georgia. So
yes, absolutely with Terrapin.
They're one of the breweries that it's a fine staple. It's like they're small enough. It's like a Beta. Like, and I don't like everything that a Beta makes, but I can just about get around everything that they do make. So yeah, so that's it. So those are the two beers I had. So boys, anything else? Brian, you want to talk about anything else?
No, except I did forget to mention that this beer came in at 8.5, my Belgium. So yeah, it's pretty spectacular in that regard too. So
yeah, that is good. My the one I'm brewing, the Pike's the Pike Monk's Uncle Triple, should come in at 9% with a 34 IBUs. Yeah, it should be
that's gonna be
pretty
awesome.
Good. Yeah, it's got the fruity, the citrus. I'm all about it. So a little bit dry. I'm really excited. But that's why I want to try it. Like, I want to try mine and yours, and I'll bottle mine. So it'll be nice and shareable, my man.
Deal.
All right. Anything else, boys, before we move on to the next story here?
I can give you guys an update of the second annual Louse's garage sale.
Please.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses. If you remember the last time we had one of Louse's garage sales, he sat outside of his house, his apartment, and gave away all his shit while you sat in a chair that exploded underneath you as you were trying to sell the very things you were sitting in.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. This go around was far more successful. However, it started off a little bit slow. No chairs were harmed in the making of this garage sale. However, I did have the local crazy people who talk backwards come by and hang out for a spell. That was always a good time. Shirtless Dale from The Walking Dead. If you guys remember that character, there's a gentleman in my neighborhood who looks just like him. He does not wear a shirt, though.
Shirtless Dale.
I call him Shirtless Dale because he wears the hat just like Dale from Walking Dead.
He's been dead for like 6 seasons.
I know, but he looks like Shirtless Dale. I don't know what you want from me. He walks around and he tells me he's from the Ukraine and that he built or he invented the first electronic transmission and didn't get the credit for it. So that was great. Great show. Great attendance. All the neighborhood gang was there, but I got rid of everything, so it's pretty great. Just want to give you guys an update because I know you guys loved my last.
No, that was you had a really good story, which is why I like the last one. So that's good.
Yeah, this time I had to explain. Why there was only 3 chairs at that table set, which is pretty great.
Listen, if you just take the table. So how much did you end up giving away?
Oh, all of it.
Oh, geez, how much money did you make?
Not a lot.
Oh, geez, okay.
Did you make more than you started with?
Yes.
Well, then you made money. All right, it was a success.
And I don't have to move
perspective.
much stuff. So.
Yeah, I would say that's an overall success. All right, well, that's great. I'm glad that was a success. We have 2 more stories in the beer section, and we have a lot to get to in the next section. So, boys, we got to move on. Happy Thanksgiving. I just wanted to say out there to everybody here in the Americas that is celebrating Thanksgiving. Do you guys agree or think or have any other thoughts than I do about Thanksgiving and how Christopher Columbus, I brought this up today, Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas was arguably, and I say this being in support of this, the most influential and important discovery that's happened in all of human civilization. Think about it. Think about it for a second. While you're thinking about it, if you were...
Can you repeat the question?
There's no question. It was just a statement. I was saying that I think I'm of the belief that Christopher Columbus landing on the country or the land of North America or whatever, wherever it was that he landed. It doesn't matter if it was here or somewhere else. It was here. It was actually, on the Americas themselves, but the introduction of the European 1492, person to a civilization which had been occupying that area and never had seen another person before. Don't you think that's very interesting? Because they are evolutionary. They were the Indians that were the Native Americans that were there were fundamentally and evolutionary different than what they saw come off the boat. And when that happened, if you can imagine, they had been that way since the land bridge from Russia to Alaska was out of the water. And that was just the way they were ever since till Christopher Columbus came. I brought this up today at work. We don't have to keep this in. I can cut this out, but I just thought it was looking at it, reflecting at it. It's obviously one of the more important discoveries that we've ever had as a civilization for the last 3,700 years, which is crazy. Thoughts?
I like to think that that they landed, I believe this is historically accurate. They landed on some of the Caribbean islands first.
Mm-hmm.
How great is this moment though? Because this might have happened in real life. Like he hit the Caribbean islands and he was like, this is new continent. This is it. And then he looks over and, and eventually they see like a bigger continent. He's like, and that too. Like right. When it was on the horizon, he must have done that. Be like, that one too, though. Yeah, like,
he's right. Like, hey, he's like, Jim. All right, get the mat. Let's. All right, this is our island. This is sweet. Oh, also that.
Yeah,
Jim's just like looking around.
There had to have been a moment
in the corner.
There had to have been a moment in history where that happened, and that makes me really happy to think about.
So it's like on the big fax paper with like the little perforations in the side. And he like put it up against another one. He was like, yeah, it's all this too.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that had to have happened. And it just makes me really happy to like think about that happening in history.
Well, I don't think it did happen though, because if he would have landed in any of those Caribbean islands, like Cuba is 90 miles from the coast of Florida. So you wouldn't be able to see the coast of Florida from Cuba.
Well, after they do some additional putterings and
but if you were to the Bahamas, that's more than 90 miles away. So I think that, yeah, I don't know if that's how it worked, but shortly thereafter, he might have been like, "Hey, Greg, get over here."
Yeah, look another island.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. So that's it. I didn't mean to totally distract. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on that before we move on to our Thanksgiving beer suggestions?
No, I think it's a really neat thought to process because we did have a nation of people here that, as you said, Donnie, crossed from the land bridge into Alaska, and they had settled there for many years. Until, of course, Christopher Columbus found North America.
Founded Alaska. Wait.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't
It's
find
Alaska. That's great.
He
But,
sunk that land bridge.
Wait, now he's Italian. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, I think it's a neat concept because they finally set eyes upon
Eyes, Christopher Colombo. Now
exactly.
And
It was just
that's
it was
one more
thing. I've been pondering that thought since you brought it up. I'm like, wow, it's really deep. It's very poignant. It's it's a neat.
But there's one more thing.
A couple more things.
Oh, it's Christopher Colombo.
Oh, that's a deep reference. That is a very deep reference to an obscure sleuth man.
What is going on?
It's from a private investigator show from back in the day.
That I never
Very
saw.
obscure. Yeah, I don't think most people did, except our dad. Yeah.
But there's one more thing.
Great show to anybody who hasn't seen Columbo. Just a fun little ad for Columbo. Go back and rewatch it. Maybe
All I'm
it's on
saying is
something.
when Christopher
How do you
Colombo,
rewatch something you have never watched?
YouTube.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Somebody watched it, so now you should too.
Yeah. Christopher Colombo discovered America in the 70s.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Go back, rewatch that, and then replay this episode, and you'll laugh.
Oh boy. No, Ryan, you were making a great point. I'm sorry. I was not trying to cut you off, but yeah. Just trying to reflect on it. That's all. It's a crazy, if you think about it like that abstractly, it is very unique. And now out of that, we've got Thanksgiving.
I just want to know what Ponce de Leon has to say about it. That's all.
Well, the thing is,
Not a whole lot these days.
the thing is, like, what I was trying to get out of it is that, like, I was talking to someone who was Peruvian, and she was born in Peru, and she's like, well, we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. And I'm like, well, why? And she's like, well, because we're not from America. And it's like, that's fine. I was like, but from a scientific perspective, Christopher Columbus, so a man from Europe coming to the Americas and discovering that there was people there that looked like him and that talked like him but different, was probably one of the biggest scientific discoveries that will ever happen to us, short of us going to Mars and finding an alien civilization. That will be the only time in history that something like that happens again, pending that relationship is as successful as 300 years ago. 300 years ago, which is not a lot of years, right? Like, leading to where we are now. So that was my point. But I have beer suggestions for Thanksgiving dinner if you want to talk about them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So it's a lot to just drop on you right now. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to get real deep on this Thanksgiving. So that's all.
That notion joke.
What?
Deep.
I get it. Yep. No, that was unintentional, but good call out. The first beer pairing that I have for Thanksgiving dinner, I'm a big pumpkin pie fan. How about you guys?
Look, yeah.
Well, we talked a lot about Belgian ales, and let me tell you, the Monk's Uncle Triple Ale, the one I'm actually brewing myself this weekend, is perfect for pumpkin pie because of the spices. It allows, when we try to pair beers, we're contrasting, complementing, or we're unifying, right? There's 3 different stages of it, and the Monk's Triple, or really most Belgian triples, very high spice ratio. Ryan, you're drinking one right now. You tell me, it's sweet. It's got that caramel. It's got that candy flavor. It is perfect for a pumpkin pie as long as it doesn't overpower it. What do you guys think? I mean, pick a different course. Pick the turkey, pick the mashed potatoes. What would you pair with your Thanksgiving? I always go to the pumpkin pie, which is why I would also make sure that you have a Belgian ale with you.
I'm not hip to the whole pairing and whatnot. I mean, I think there wouldn't be anything wrong with it's almost like a classic type of lager or something like that. Like, that kind of brings it home for me. I mean, it doesn't need to get all crazy with the flavors. I know that you guys are into that whole comparing, contrasting thing. I know you showed me several times, Donnie, that it sort of like clicks or it doesn't click, and it's really cool. But I'd be solid with the hot gobbler from Wawa and a PBR or something like that.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm a big hot gobbler fan.
No, I'm not. But
It's got mashed potatoes in it.
It's got mashed potatoes in it.
and we've had things in there also, like, you know, what you would eat with like a turkey dinner or something. Like, I mean, I get all that too. Like, you could really mix and match it as much as you want to. But like we talked about this saison, or like the farmhouse ales being great with like your turkey, just because of the dryness, the spice, you know, that kind of stuff. It's all really good. I mean, beer just pairs really well with food in general. So as long as you're trying something, I think you'll be all right. But Ryan, did you have any Thanksgiving suggestions for the folks out there?
Well, that's exactly, Donnie. That's exactly why I brewed a Belgian beer. It was for, I mean, think about everything that you have. You have turkey. There's gravy. There's not only mashed potatoes.
Pumpkin pie.
The cranberry sauce is by far one of the most important things that you can have between Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you're eating turkey, that has to be on the table. There has to be enough cranberry sauce to go around. If you don't have cranberry sauce, you're not really having any Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, just so you know. But no, the sweet potato casserole, the green bean casserole. Okay, a stout would be good to start the day off. Maybe an IPA, but when it comes down for dinner, if you really want to keep those flavors going, those all those different ingredients that are in all the different flavors that you're eating, I think the Belgium is just the perfect complement to anything on that day, my opinion. But that's why I brewed it. Nice, light, heavy on the alcohol, and it brings out and continues to accentuate all the flavors that you can have on that plate.
No, I totally agree. So that's our input, guys. And if you're out there, listen to us for your Thanksgiving beer suggestions, which we have done in the past. Definitely suggest, you know, the Belgian. I mean, you suggested it, Ryan. I suggested it. I think the Belgian is a great option. Or saisons, you know, those are always good too. Anything like if you're matching citrus for citrus, punch for punch, that'll be good as well. So
yeah.
I also recommend the hot gobbler.
Is it hot gobbler or hop gobbler?
It's the hot gobbler from Wawa, man. How have you guys not known about that?
I don't know what the hot gobbler is. Is it food or a beer?
It's a sandwich.
No, it's a sandwich.
It's a sandwich.
It's a sandwich. It's got literally turkey on it, mashed potatoes, and it's got gravy.
And it's a sandwich.
Yeah, it's a sandwich.
So it's just Thanksgiving in your mouth.
Turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, and a sandwich.
Yeah. And it's delicious.
Why would you want all that carb?
Well, because the other one has cranberry sauce in it, and I didn't want that.
Well,
we're moving on.
You can't have turkey without cranberry.
In the sandwich? That's crazy talk.
That's
okay. All right.
That's like having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the jelly.
No, that's like having a hot gobbler. Sans cransberry.
I really thought you were talking about a beer this whole time, but I guess
nope.
I was
talking about a sandwich.
We have to move on. Jesus.
I think, you know what? And if you're not going to go with beer, you should go with vodka. There you go.
Wait.
Or some sort of spectacular mixed cocktail.
But why are you saying that now? Like, what is the...
Oh, we're not doing that?
In-laws or something?
Why did you just block everything out, Donnie?
Because we're out of time, Ryan. We have no time.
Oh, it was so good. It was the perfect.
I would go with vodka.
Bring it back.
I would go with vodka too, my friend, because the last story we have here before we hit our geek news, which is overpacked with information and therefore we will run out of time, is the last story we have, which is the Keurig for cocktails story. It is called Drinkworks Home Bar, and it's basically very hard to find, but it is a $300 machine put out by Keurig and AB, by the way, AB, Anheuser-Busch, and Keurig put this thing out. That gives you a 4-pack of cocktails or a 4-pack of beer pods that you can make on your kitchen counter for about $5 to $8 a beverage, which, in my opinion, no matter the cost of the $300 machine, sounds excessive. If you're paying $5 to $8 per beer, I would just go out to a bar and meet some people. But that's just me.
I totally agree with you, Donnie.
The way you said it, though, you said Keurig for cocktails, or it kind of sounds like a really shitty like charity donation.
Well, we had this in the loop because, you know, we've covered the Cynic system, we've covered the Pico Brew, we've covered the Brewery, we've covered every other automated brewing system, and each one Ryan gets a poor taste for each one as we go down the line. I landed in the Pico Brew camp of saying that I think it's a fair amount of automation versus home creation, where you've got the countertop availability and accessibility that makes a good, consistent product, but yet you still feel like you're doing something. In January, February of 2019, we will have customizable packs where Ryan and I can go, and you can get a 5-gallon version, and I can get a 1.5-gallon version, and we can make the same exact beer with the same exact ingredients and put them into the same exact pack. When that happens, I think we're going to cross the threshold of seeing really where the make or break happens. But the Keurig for cocktails, when you have a Keurig pod that brews you a Cosmopolitan or an IPA, in this example, Beck's or Bass from AB, I think they've crossed the line. I'm no longer on the point of where when I push a button and fill it up with water, do I feel like I've brewed the beer? Which, Ryan, has been your fundamental objection. But I think that with the other partners we've hung out with, we found that enjoyment. So I put this on here just to get your initial thoughts as this thing kind of develops. Ryan.
I mean, like you said, I don't really feel like spending $8 a cocktail if I'm at home. This is probably a fun thing if you just want to show your friends, or, if you just need a quick jolt and you're out of actual liquor. But if you guys are like me, I mean, I spend $14 at Costco for a 6 times distilled bottle of vodka, and that lasts freaking month. I mean, am I wrong? I don't know. I don't know.
No, a bottle of vodka at my house does not last a month. You are wrong on that aspect.
Yeah.
I was really meaning a week, but
no. Well, I was related.
But
I related to my mom's the only one I know that has one of the Nespresso machines, and she's like, "Oh, look at this Nespresso machine. It looks fancy, and it's got these little cute pods that are curly and curvy." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Can I have one?" She's like, "No." I was like, "Why not?" She's like, "Well, what do you want? Coffee?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Go have a Keurig." I was like, "Okay, well, why can't I have this?" She goes, "Because these are $5.50 a piece." I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna spend $5.50 a piece, my coffee at Starbucks is $3. I just get a black coffee at Starbucks when I go to Starbucks. It's cheap. It's cheap for that. But like, if I'm gonna spend $3 a coffee, or $5.50 or whatever." She's like, "No, just go get a Keurig." Because I go to Walmart and get 48 Keurig pods for $15, which puts them at about 35-40 cents a piece, which is not bad. So I don't know. I think this is ridiculous, but then again, I've seen more ridiculous. So
I think people will feel like, hey, I've got another machine on my countertop, and this one allows me to pour some alcohol.
That's what I think. The assholes that are buying this thing for $300 in addition to the Keurig are buying things to put on their countertop. And frankly, I have no countertop space left. Ryan, I know for a fact that you guys are limited in that space too. You don't have room for this shit. Louse, you don't even have counters.
Well, I'd like to correct you on that. What I don't have currently that I do have in my new apartment is outlets. I have one outlet in my kitchen currently, and I'm real excited that my new apartment has a bunch. So I beg to differ. I have a lot of counter space. I'm excited to actually start using my Keurig machine, actually.
I mean, is this thing supposed to make the perfect cocktail? Or, I mean, how do you even define the perfect cocktail?
Well, and that's the thing. You have to buy the pods, and then you have to buy a CO2 canister to go in there. Then you have to fill it with water, and then you have to clean it, then you have to make it, then you have to actually put individual pods in there, which I don't know how. And I don't know if it comes out cold. Yeah, I don't know if
this isn't like a powdered alcohol and just comes out like a Keurig coffee.
Well, how would a beer come out like that with CO2 and foam and all?
I thought this was for cocktails. I thought we were making liquor drinks.
And beer. It makes both.
Yeah, it's like that robot from the Jetsons.
Yeah. Rosie.
Sure.
Rosie.
Yeah, with Rosie.
That's the one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's just that I don't think that it can. I don't think that it's solving any problem. That's the thing.
I kind of get the feeling that Ryan's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's sort of got the whole John Henry type.
No, but see, the John Henry discussion, Ryan, we've been having this for over a year now. When Pico Brew first came to us and was like, "Hey, listen, we want you guys to test this thing out and live it." You came to my house. We brewed a beer together. You've tried several of them that I've made. And I think that your opinion of the Pico Brew is saying, okay, this is as far as we can go between automation and customization, right? Like this, if we can get to a point where you and I can go to a grain bill and buy the same stuff and make the same beer and have the same product, that is home brewing. And I get the automation level. I get that your manual process part of it, the craft part of craft beer. I totally understand that. but there is a market for that stuff. For this kind of thing, I feel like it's bullshit.
Right. I bought into two ideas that work with the Pico brew system, and that is if you're limited on space and you can't necessarily go outside your, high-rise apartment or whatever and brew, there's number one. Number two, if you want to test something and you don't necessarily have a 1-gallon batch system or whatever, you can test a recipe and then you can go brew it on a bigger batch system. So there's the two pros to the Pico. This, you can everybody has a liquor cabinet of some sort, or, you can go to the store and buy liquor, and whether or not you're heavy-handed pourer or not, you're going to make yourself a stiff drink, or you're going to realize, hey, I poured a little too much, and then, hey, maybe this little shot glass that I have here that actually measures out how much proportionately I should add the liquor into my fucking drink.
Yeah.
Then you're going to learn how to use a shot glass to make yourself a drink and do it a little more proportionally. This just doesn't make any sense.
I feel like all you're pouring here is a $6 headache. Like, it's just going to be a problem. I don't get it. It's not for me. But Loustman, final thoughts?
As the only one moving into a high-rise apartment, I feel targeted by Ryan right now, but...
You should feel convicted to go buy a Pico brew system or borrow Donnie's.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great system. We love the Pico brew. So.
I'd love to see how much beer I could make in a tiny apartment. 550 square feet, boys and girls.
I'd like to make enough beer to just fill up your apartment, but I think
that'd
we
be
can do
awesome.
That
so much beer.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. This brings us to our next segment, the Geek News section, Drink It In or Send It On Back. We have several things here that we have to blow through in the next short amount of time. So, boys, just scrolling. I'm going to run through them fast. All right, just the couple quick hits. We got a couple quick hits. We're going to go through them very quickly, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, which is our Xbox X 2018 coverage, because I just think that we don't normally give Microsoft and Xbox a lot of love, and it is not undeserved. It's not that we don't do that for any particular reason. We're sponsored by anybody else. It's just that there's not a lot of stuff that's came out, but this conference had a lot, so we'll get into that here in a second. First, the quick hits. No Man's Sky Visions is a update that came out literally today. It leaked. The trailer leaked for it. So last time we talked about No Man's Sky, and I won't get into this very much. I know you guys probably don't even have much opinion about this, but they talked about the Abyss update. So the Abyss brought detailed underwater experience and changes to the game that launched in 2016. It's been out for a while, but the game fundamentally changed. As in, if you landed on a planet and you could actually go underwater, you could see this diverse life cycle that took place. So it was huge. It was very huge. What was lacking, what the fans then reached out for, was saying, we want terrain, we want mountains, we want volcanoes, we want bigger stuff. And that's what this update seems to promise. So like I said, today, literally the 20th, 2 days before Thanksgiving, it launched. This trailer leaked, and it looks very promising. But I just wanted to throw that out there as a part of it. Loustman and Ryan, I know, Loust, you have a copy of No Man's Sky. I know you've played very intermittently, and Ryan, you probably have not. But Loustman, does this bring any kind of hope or any kind of more intrigue to you to play the game?
Absolutely. I mean, this I hate to always take No Man's Sky and put it towards like directly put it, or compare it, I should say, to like a different game that I know a little bit more, that I maybe put a little bit more time into. But it's kind of like they're adding like the more, I would say, the NPCs, like more additional like run-in adversaries and stuff like that, similar to like Skyrim has, that No Man's Sky did not have initially. So like they're just adding like more just like stuff that you wouldn't really expect, and like random things that sort of just come up. So yeah, it sounds like an awesome addition. No,
and since July 24th of this year, I mean, they've committed they committed to making regular, consistent, impactful updates, and I'm just holding their feet to the fire. It's November 20th. It's been nearly three months or over 3 months since the next update, and they're holding up to their words. So I was just doing this as merely a interloper, checkpoint, just to say, hey, listen, man, are they really holding up to it? And yes, they are. And if the way that their release schedule works, so they teased the Abyss at the beginning of October, and then it was out before Halloween. And if they're teasing this leaked trailer now, being November 20th, then it should be out in the next week or two, which would be fantastic. And what a nice little Christmas or birthday present, just to have us out to play. So I'm all about No Man's Sky, and we'll continue giving updates on it. We won't spend a lot of time, but I think when massive things like this happen, it's impactful to see. So we'll post the No Man's Sky Visions trailer on our group, the Craft Brews and Geek News Facebook group, which is a private group. If you want to access it, we only limit it because people are so nice and so great to chat with and to engage in dialogue there. We're up to like 90 members, I think now, so which is very cool. But I'll post a link there. If not, just Google No Man's Sky Visions and you'll find it. But the next point, Mr. Lausman, Battlefield V, I believe they pronounce it.
No, we've been over this. Battlefield 5.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, Battlefield 5 is in the Roman numeral that looks like a V. So that actually, hilariously enough, also drops today. And when I say it drops today, there's a little bit of mix up there. EA continuing to fall backwards down the staircase that is success. They made it available today to anybody who bought the standard edition, which is great because this game was already pushed back a couple months and people were really anticipating it, and then people kind of freaked out about the launch and so on and so forth. But if you bought the standard edition, or if you preloaded it, bought it digitally and preloaded it, you can play it today, which is cool. Except if you bought the beefier, the extra, special edition, you actually could have played it a couple days ago. And then to further poke you in the side of the ribs, if you didn't buy any of this and you just subscribed to EA's their subscription service where you get to play all the EA titles, and it's like a monthly fee of, I don't know how much, but it's not a whole lot. If you did that route, you actually got to play this back like a week or two ago. So kind of a big middle finger to anybody who actually took the time and say, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy the game right out the gate. The standard edition, really not cool. But as far as we're seeing, with everybody's reviews and whatnot, I've not personally had a chance to play it yet, but it's looking sharp. It's looking a lot like Battlefield 1, which is putting a lot of people on edge. But we'll see how it turns out. We'll see the numbers, and I'll get my hands on it shortly, I'm sure. So that's all I have for Battlefield 5, but hopefully they can continue to go down a righteous path of making that game better and not worse, which they have the potential to do.
Well, what do you think? Do you think they brought a ton of new stuff to it, or do you think it's just because you'd voiced your opinion before about how the trailer stuff, there was robotic arms and all sorts of weirdness that wasn't exactly historically accurate, but doesn't always have to be.
In a nutshell, yeah. I mean, so what they've done is they've sort of joined what every other first-person shooter is doing these days. Call of Duty did it. Battlefield's doing it. They've revamped a few things. They've added a few game modes. They've added sort of like a PUBG, Fortnite style, last man standing type of situation, which is what it is. You touched on a few things that they kind of did that people didn't really enjoy, myself included. They had some wildly inaccurate, historically inaccurate main characters. There was a female protagonist on the front lines of like the whole Northern Europe situation, and it just they're doing a lot of things and a lot of backtracking. So and they're doing it all like publicly. So it is what it is. They admitted at one point, they said they were just going to dial back the craziness, like having everyone's faces face painted and blue and stuff like that. They said they were going to dial back the craziness to try and make it more realistic. And any developer that does that, like, they've clearly overstepped and they realize they messed up, and now they're just backpedaling. So there's things like that. There's things like they're one of the higher ups, I think I've already mentioned it, but one of the higher ups saying, if you don't like the way the game is, don't buy it. That's the exact opposite of what he should be saying. So
yeah, no, I remember you were very vocal about that. You're like, yeah, if that's how are you gonna say it?
Yeah, you kind of can't do that, especially when your whole job depends on people buying that game, and not only buying that game, but buying that game brand new. These things are like cars. I mean, when somebody buys a game used, the original developer sees none of that money. They only receive, payment when somebody buys it brand new, either digitally or physically. And if they buy it physically used, then that change of hands has nothing to do with the developers. So it's just kind of crazy. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see how the community responds. I'm sure there's already a lot of hate and love both ways. So that came out weird.
Oh, it's fine. I get it. I totally understand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Shoot.
All right. Well, that's good. And I think that's fine. So, okay. So Battlefield Vive, I guess that's how you pronounce it now. That's all I'll
Nope.
say it. No, okay.
Soft V.
Well, so we've had me talk about No Man's Sky. Last talk about Battlefield V5.
Yep.
Ryan Roberts. Give us your opinion on Detective Pikachu.
I love it.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh. I cannot.
These are
wait
supposed to be our
see this
quick
movie.
hits. We have no time left, so please go quickly.
No, I think this is going to be a great way. I think, Donnie, you and I were talking about this the other day. I think it's just going to be a great way for fans to be entertained. It's obviously the voice of Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu.
Deadpool
And-
Pikachu.
Yeah, it's Deadpool Pikachu. He's
Which
a
sounds
detective.
lame. No, it's lame.
It's going to be funny. It's not going to be the Pikachu that we
They-
all know,
but
where
they
it's
just
like
released-
Ash and Catch,
They just released a game called Detective Pikachu for DS or whatever,
But-
and it was like a gruff Detective Pikachu.
Well,
And that's what it
fanboys are going to
is.
have to get over it. No,
I just don't understand. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I just don't understand why they just don't have any concept of continuity or like canon or anything. I just don't understand how it can be so varied and different. And they use the screamy kid from Jurassic Park Lost World, Dinosaurs in Their Mansion, Get Out of the Mansion, that's where the dinosaurs are. That kid he's probably fine. I don't know. Ryan
All right,
Reynolds.
so here, okay. So you just said you made this a very good point. So many years ago, there was a character in the Dragon Ball Z series called Broly, and there were at least 3 or 4 movies that were made that were considered non-canon. It didn't fall within a timeline, but it involved all the main characters that we all love and know if you're a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Well, in the new Dragon Ball Super, we bring a character like Kale, who is somewhat like Broly, but is not Broly. They called her the Berserker Super Saiyan. Long story short, there is a new movie coming out in December where now Kira Toriyama is bringing it full circle, and Broly is now canon. So, to your point, Donnie, just because it's not canon now to the one that was based off the video game for Detective Pikachu, this is a way to bring fans into the world of Pokemon that I think is a great segue because it's not the story that we know. We don't need to retell the story. We found out what happened.
Well,
I'm going to associate back to Dragon Ball real quick. I have to make a point here. We found out what happened when we made a real life Dragon Ball movie. It is the worst real life Dragon Ball movie that has ever been made in the history. Fans don't even like the movie. We hate it. It's a piece of shit. I don't even own it, and I own Dragon Ball GT, which is not canon, and I own all the other things that I can for Dragon Ball movies, even if they're not canon. But that was a piece of shit movie. This is a way for fans to experience a real, quote unquote, real life action Pokemon movie. Get them in the world of Pokemon. You see Bulbasaur in the preview. You see Charizard. You see, of course, Pikachu, who is being voice acted by Ryan Reynolds, but only one character in the movie can actually hear Pikachu speak as Ryan Reynolds. The others always hear Pika Pika. So you're going to get that fan base that's like, oh, it's going to be Pika Pika, but then it's really going to be Ryan Reynolds talking for most of the movie. And I think it's just going to be a fun experience that then will segue into more Pokemon movies for the adults that grew up as children playing the game. I know in the 6th grade, I played Pokemon religiously. I was in tournaments. I did all the things. I had all the cards. I did everything to like expand it upon 151 Pokemon into, well, I think Fossil. I stopped at their Fossil. Long story short, I just think it's a fun, fantastic way to build that bridge, make it fun for the adults that are now adults that were kids back then. And then we'll see where it goes from there. They can gauge it. It's an engaging movie to gauge where they're at with continuing more films. That's my piece. Go ahead, Last Man.
I'd just like to point out real briefly that your concept and application of the word many may be slightly askew. Earlier on, you said that Christopher Columbus many years ago discovered the continent of America, but then you said just now, many, many years ago during a season of Dragon Ball Z. Just want to throw that out there.
I was having a fun, non-political debate about the discovery of North America at that point.
But you just said the one many for Christopher Columbus, and then you said many, many years
Oh, the
ago.
many? Oh, well,
I don't know. Sorry.
It was at least 20 years ago.
All right. Well, that might be just
Or
the
if
one
not
many.
more.
We
We all know Christopher Columbus was many years ago.
But see, like what you're not hinting on is like your intro to this thing is fine, and I get it, Ryan. I totally get your point too. Like I think
That's my enthusiasm carrying me.
okay. So be meta for a second, right? Like if Detective Pikachu has a Deadpool, snippy, snarky little Pikachu that is PG-13 and that is leading this movie. The Pokemon that they showed in that trailer look great. The world looks great.
Yes.
The way that the people are interacting with these fictitious creatures and the way that they actually look real in the trailer, that all looks fantastic. And it's the first time that I feel that they've actually really nailed it just from the trailer. And it's only been one trailer. I get that. I really think that as much as they're saying Detective Pikachu, to your point, it's like a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. They're all in the case. Don't open the case and you won't have a problem kind of movie, right? Like Detective Pikachu may not be the overarching story arc that is this. It's more of like, hey, let's just gauge and see how the Pokemon universe is accepted. And I think that, to your point, very much so, if this movie comes out and does it well, number one, which you haven't touched on, it could be the very best video game movie that ever could or has existed, right? Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, any other video game movie that's came out and has all been shit, typically. I mean, it could be very cool. I get that.
Only because people want the same story they played in the video games to be told in the movie. And that's where, to your credit, you had already said it's a different voice, it's a different thing. It might even be a different story.
Well, but the only voice that Pikachu ever had in the traditional games is Pika.
That's so, my point.
I don't know if I want Ryan Reynolds to be replacing that, because that never was that. But again, to your point, if you could adapt the success of this and to say, okay, me and the kid from Lost World that screams when he sees the dinosaur, that's fine. If you're going to lead this franchise, then now you and I are going to go out and battle through Vermilion and hit the what are the bad guys lost, man? Like the Rockets, what are they called? The blue-haired guy and the sister, and they had a Meowth. What is their... It's like the Red Rockets.
Nope, that's definitely not that. That's a different thing.
No, I think they were Red Rocket. No, Red Rocket.
No, would you guys?
It was
stop?
Definitely not Red Rocket.
Yeah, could you please stop and also Google that later?
It was Team Rocket. It was just Team Rocket.
Team Rocket blasts off again. Anyway, and to that point, Donnie, I think this is going to be a movie that some people will love, and that other people will come in there saying, "Oh, well, this isn't the Pokemon I know." And there's going to be such an outcry for an actual legit Pokemon movie that it's going to get done. I think it's going to be the catalyst to that movie, to engage people into the world of Pokemon, and then get them so mad that they have to go and make an actual Pokemon movie that is based on
Pokemon movie. I heard that
Pokemon movie that is Pokemon movie that is based on what they know and love, and that's where it's going to draw the attention of a lot of people. And I think to this day, we want the same thing in the Dragon Ball Z realm. We don't want Dragon Ball to be the only real life action movie that was ever made, because it's a piece of shit. It legit is a piece of shit. I will go on record. I will tell the director to his face it's a piece of shit, because every other Dragon Ball fan agrees with that sentiment. But I'm not saying that this movie is going to be a piece of shit. I think it's going to be great in its own way. It's going to show the Pokemon world, like Donnie, like what you said, but it's going to be a catalyst for more movies to spawn from it based on the storylines that we all know and love. Ash Ketchum, gotta catch them all. Go back to the basics, then move into Mew and Mewtwo and all those other storylines with all the legendary Pokemon. I think it's just the sky's the limit, if that makes sense. So I don't know.
It makes sense. Well, man, closing arguments. We got to move on to the next story.
Ryan, you had the perfect opportunity to say you can move on to.
Oh,
I gave that for you, my friend.
Well, thanks.
From you. You missed it again. From you, my friend.
I go back and play it. I said from you.
Well, right back. Oh, Mewtwo. I don't know. In any event, I don't think it's going to be good, and I'm just going to say that right up top.
I don't think it's either. I don't think it'll be great.
I think it's going to happen, and people are going to be like, "Wow, that was weird."
I'd be willing to wager a beer that I think most people will love it, but many will hate it.
It's not going to break the curse of being a good video game movie.
I do wonder why they came out with the preview so early. It doesn't come out till next summer. Well, I guess. Oh shit, we're already in November.
Yeah. Got to compete with Avengers 4.
Oh boy.
Well, that's true.
All right. Anyways, we have to move on. So we had a little bit of Star Wars. We had a little bit of Star Wars news that came out, and it's basically just be very quick. We won't have to hit it last minute. You or Ryan chime if you need to, but essentially we got through Uncle Bob's quarterly stockholder call. We got basically the name of the two experiences there. It's going to be, let's see, the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is great. Puts players behind puts guests behind the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy for one of three unique flight crew roles. That is ready to roll out here in the fall of 2019 in Orlando, spring, I believe, in Disneyland. And then the second ride is going to be Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which basically takes place in the middle of a battle between the Resistance and the First Order. Lousman, I know that you are super stoked about that. Any kind of thoughts that you want to drop on the podcast folks here?
I hope they don't just show for the First Order one. I hope they don't just show it from the point of view of the actual Resistance, because I don't really support the Resistance. I'm more of a First Order type of guy. But the trailer leads it to believe that you're going to see both sides. So I'd be happy to see both sides.
I just want to see more of that mouse droid. That's all I want to see.
Mouse droid's pretty sweet.
Very sweet.
Take 'em.
So the next piece of news that we have on the Star Wars spectrum here is that they actually have released their permits for the Star Wars Hotel, which is very interesting. We actually have a floor plan here. It shows a ride area that's concealed, or an arrival area that's concealed, a security zone that will take you basically up the side of the hotel into the main concourse there, where you'll have your restaurants and your interaction areas. Then you've got about 68 rooms that look like they're available of all different sizes, 32 of the same, a couple first class cabins, if you will. All of these again are going to be interior walls, as in that they do not have any exterior glass, which means that they'll all have projections that make it look like you're in space and have a fully immersive experience. Ryan, I know that I bumped over you for a lot of this stuff, but any thoughts on this crap? It's still very, very much in the planning process. Again, these are permits that were just filed for buildings, so we're very far out, but would love to get your thoughts on this stuff.
Well, it looks like an intricate build. There's a lot of twists and turns, and it just sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest with you.
And
taking everybody into the world of Star Wars and giving it to them the entire time they're in a hotel room. Yeah.
I don't even know what to think, because I've been to many, many Disney hotels, and all of them have 2, 5, 800 rooms, if not more. This one's got 68.
So very, very hard to get in.
Hard to get in, expensive, hard to pull off. I can't fathom what this will look like. But yeah, man, very exciting. So
I'm excited to see the windowless windows. Actually, just something I saw recently was cruise ships are now starting to do that for interior cabins. They actually have cameras that point to the outside of the ship, and there's a few select rooms where you can actually rent them. They're interior, no balcony, no window whatsoever, and you can actually, where there is a fake window, it actually projects what the camera's seeing outside. So, and you get a floor to ceiling projection of what's going on outside.
Ryan, you were on a cruise most recently. Do you think that would help with that kind of stuff? Because I totally think it would. I don't know how much that cruise boat would cost, but the biggest thing about cruise boats is that when you're in your cabin, you can't see outside. It's very claustrophobic, and it gives you that sensation, even if you're not an anxiety person, that you can't escape and you can't see outside, and it just makes it makes you seasick just being trapped inside of a closet.
Oh, but that's different. You're in the middle of the ocean, and for me, I need and I was on that cruise. I thought it was great that we had the patio. But I think if it's different where you're in a hotel room, you're not actually out at sea. Any second you can just walk outside your door and walk outside and just go outside. I think that's a completely different situation. You can't compare the two.
I was saying for cruise boats, how cool would that be?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were comparing it to the hotel. No, at that point, I think that's cool, but I personally, I love fresh air. So no matter what, I would still want to be, for myself, I would want to be on a patio. I'm sure some people might feel at ease with that, but not me.
Ryan, Ryan, of course, exclusively cruises only in the middle of the ocean. He will not go anywhere else.
No.
He will land via helicopter on the middle, right down that longitudinal there, and he will just cruise up and down to his heart's content.
Absolutely.
Helicopter back on out.
Absolutely.
Middle
The
only.
middle of the ocean for me only.
All right. Well, we have one last story to get through.
Oh my God, how many are there?
No, this is it. Well, Lausman, we can go through this really quickly. This was supposed to be the front runner of our stories in the Geek News section, but because we had so much good dialogue and everything else, I just want to hit on it briefly. But Lausman, I don't know if you even had a chance to really get through this stuff, but we're talking about the Microsoft 2018, Microsoft X18 conference. They started to do, there was 10,000 fans there. Literally, it happened just last week. It was in Mexico City, and they just took a close look at the future of Xbox and Microsoft and all things there. And there's some really cool. The reason I want to hit this is because I think there's some industry. When I say industry changes, I mean gaming industry, console gaming industry changes that are coming out of this thing that I think will seriously impact the rest of gaming for forever. Namely, just to get off this, to go to line here, there's Microsoft has initiated this thing where Ryan, I'm saying you, but Lost Man, me, you, anybody, maybe on a fixed income and you've already got a Switch, you've got another system, but you also want some of the exclusive games that are coming out for Xbox. So Xbox is actually allowing you to lease an Xbox One X and a Game Pass and the internet, which is the Xbox Live or whatever, for $35 a month. So Ryan, you could sign up for imagine like a cell phone. It's like a 2-year contract where you pay $35 a month and you can have an Xbox One that has the internet capability and access to any game you want, all in a monthly package of $35 a month. That is fundamentally different from any other console gaming system or payment plan that's out there. PS whatever doesn't have it, Switch doesn't have it, Nintendo's not thinking about it. Xbox kind of tested the waters with this when they put out their Game Pass so that you could have, when a brand new game comes out, essentially on day one, if you have the subscription to the Game Pass, you get the game right there. And it downloads to your console. When you're not playing it, it offloads. So it's pretty phenomenal forward thinking. And the fact that you can now lease an Xbox and actually have all this stuff for a low payment of $35 for 2 years. I get it. After 2 years, you've paid $600-700, which is a bunch of games and the console itself. But it's a fundamentally Netflix kills Blockbuster kind of way to think about it. And I just wanted to put that out there as the biggest takeaway from this conference that I found. But these games that are coming out are going to be launching day one. So if they say they're out February 12th on that Game Pass, you get it February 12th. It's just crazy. It's a crazy way to think about it. And I think that a lot more game developers, console manufacturers will think about gaming like this. So I just wanted to say, if nothing else, that was the biggest takeaway that I got from this conference.
Yeah, that's sort of, that's, oh, sorry, Ryan, didn't you go ahead?
No, go, please.
Well, that's sort of like the never-ending payment towards a system, which it's like leasing a car. Like you said, that's just how you start. Slippery slope. I can see the benefits of it. Somebody getting in on let's all be real here. Next gen is probably within the next 1 to 5 years. 1 to 3 years maybe. So if you leased an Xbox One X right now, realistically, you'd at least know what the next console is going to be called by the time your lease is up. Maybe. You might know the name of it. So that's a sweet deal. And you'd be like, yeah, I don't want to be stuck with an old system that, everyone's going to have and stuff like that. Just cruise right up on next to the next launch date of the next platform or whatever. Yeah. So there's benefits to it. Absolutely. But I don't know. It's not for me. It's you think Rent-A-Center. You said that too, but we all said that about, remember the original Netflix, or it wasn't even Netflix. It was was it Redbox no, it was Netflix. You'd pay for a subscription. They would send you as many DVDs as you wanted. You can keep them forever. And then when you were done, you sent them back. You know what I mean? That sounded crazy at one point too. And that was 10 years ago. Dude, I'm telling you, man, this will revolutionize the way that we think about gaming. I'm just saying that I think that's what's happening. Yeah,
they're making gaming consoles like cell phones.
Right. How crazy is that? It doesn't seem crazy at all. It seems like a very logical next step.
But at the same time, so cell phones come out with a new model every year, which is something that I wish they didn't do. And it's also something that I wish car companies wouldn't do, but they do. They come out with a new thing every year. So as long as they don't come out with a new gaming console every year, fine. But if this is the way that it's going, and Donnie, you've actually nailed the head. For 2 years, you're going to spend $35 a month, which is between $700 and $800. You're going to have the console plus access to all of the new games that come out with
and the old games with Xbox.
And,
Xbox are also backwards compatible.
Right.
You can get a 360 game that's now been revitalized for the system you want to play now.
Right.
So if you had a game 5 years ago that you loved, you could play it now if you wanted to.
So that's worth it. But let's say but the way that would go is, are they going to come out with a new gaming console every year? Let me play skeptic here, or critic, whatever.
But I can shut it down with my next pick
because they're not going to. They're probably not going to. But that would be well. Like, okay, my perfect example. I'm 6 months into paying off my Google Pixel 2 XL. They're about to come out with the Google Pixel 3 XL. And I have to wait till the Google Pixel 4 XL before I paid off the Google 2 XL to get the Google 4 XL.
But see, this is how Microsoft excels, not the Pixel, but excels in what they're doing. Is that this is eventually getting to a stage where if you have a PC, which everybody has,
right,
that can handle it, all you have to do is log in online, and then all of your games are also available on any laptop that you seem to have in front of you.
Which would not be equipped enough to play the
not
game.
Not necessarily. If these games are hosted on a server that Microsoft owns, it is like you tapping into YouTube to be able to play this. Your computer isn't downloading all of the YouTube videos. It's simply just playing it off of a server. So if they can figure that crap out, which they're already talking about doing, then you could literally just take your computer and your Xbox controller and play your Xbox anywhere in the world.
Actually,
with a decent enough, internet connection.
Actually, the article that you posted actually goes on to say that the Xbox One X has compatibility with keyboard and mouse. So you can even just continue to roll.
We are back to square one.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, not square one. What I'm saying, this is a square that's off the map. This square is uncharted square territory.
Is it in the middle of the ocean? Ryan frequents there. Ryan, have you seen it?
I do enjoy going to the middle of the ocee.
All I'm saying,
by helicopter only,
is that they've been working on that kind of technology for like remote computing for business, for the last 10, 15 years. They figured out, if they can which Microsoft is the one that can figure it out for gaming, it will be the next version of how we play games, and it will be everything's going to be a subscription service, dude. Everything.
So they are moving away from the console, and they're making it more accessible online, like a Netflix subscription.
I don't think they're moving away from it. I think they're saying.
Well, you just said that you could play it on your laptop. Well, so why would I even want a console if I could play it on my desktop?
Because at home, just like the Switch, at home you have a console, but when you're on the go, you can play your games. That's what it's a supplementary value add, is all it is.
So take cable subscription. Right now, you only really need a modem and a lot of like the Sling TVs and whatever's out there. You just really need to pay for this subscription, and everything's basically done on an app. So eventually, Donnie, you won't need an actual console because computers will be equipped to actually run the software that Xbox already can run, and therefore you just either have it on a desktop, laptop, or even cell phone, which they're already doing. So again, eventually, there won't be an Xbox, there won't be a PlayStation.
Well,
it'll just be on the computer.
Eventually, you don't need to have that. It'll be a dynamic experience
which is crazy to think about.
Right, Ryan can get his games however he wants to, and that's what I think the end of the line is that you can.
Yeah, well, they're already doing it with applications, different game apps,
and you can play. You can play on Steam. You can play on wherever.
They're just getting smarter how they deliver the product.
You guys are both 100% right. I just got cable to try it out for a month, and they said, well, we're going to have to, it'll be this price, about $30, $40 more. They go, for us to go set this up. And I go, well, I have an Xbox One. And they go, oh, you can just download the app. We don't need to charge you for a box every month. I'm like,
there you go.
All right. I was like, cool. So I'm just going to watch TV through my Xbox.
Yep.
And he was like, yep. I was like,
yeah, well, that's a different cash grab, because that's just cable trying to get their teeth in their claws and where they can. Because
I don't have a box. I log in through whatever application. I can watch Spectrum right on my computer and on my TV because I project it out through my router or my receiver.
Yeah,
I don't have a cable box.
All right. Well, all
Holy
I'm saying,
shit, this world's getting smarter.
it's getting very smart, and that's all I wanted to bring up with this whole Xbox conference. I just think it's a very cool thing, and it's a very it's gonna change some stuff, and I think this may be the first we've heard about it and the first that they've tried it. But Xbox has been dabbling in this for a while. PSN, PlayStation has their own network and games, and Nintendo's response is, we're gonna give you games from 25 to 30 years ago that you'll have to pay $3 a month for. So enjoy, and we'll see how that plays out. But Nintendo is always 10 years behind everybody else. But
Well, eventually we're only going to have 3 boxes. The internet router, the receiver, and the TV and/or computer.
Is that like the 3 shells from Demolition Man?
Well, sure. We'll go with that.
and on that note,
Great movie, by the way.
boys,
Mm-hmm.
where can the good kids find you? Ryan.
Yeah, Brood Boy 813, and tomorrow night at Brew, passing out some home brew.
Well, that sounds like a brew of a good time, and it's a busy week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at Mr. Louseman, and like Donaldo said, happy Thanksgiving, gobble till you wobble.
That's right. And everybody, please do contribute to the conversation. We will talk about a lot of things. The Fandalorian, we haven't touched on in a while. We got Pedro Pascal that's been actually added to the cast there as the main character. You remember him as the Red Viper from the Game of Thrones, where he got his eyeballs squished in by the big guy.
Oh, worst scene ever.
Yeah, he's going to be the Mandalorian. It's going to be very exciting. But we'll talk about all those juicy topics and more pop culture in the geek spectrum next week. So, or in 2 weeks, I guess, from now. But please tune in. You can find me at Brewmasters Club on Instagram, Twitter, Craft Brews and Geek News on YouTube, and of course our Facebook group, Craft Brews and Geek News, or craftbrewsgeeknews.com. You can find us there. Please subscribe to the channel if you are listening and enjoying the content. Please send us a note. info@brewmasters.club is an email address you can reach us at. Also, please do leave us a review on iTunes if you can. And we love you guys. As we say at the end of every episode, Mr. Lausman.
Did last week's.
Mr. Rye Guy.
I like traveling to the middle of the ocean, and so should you.
All right. Well, that's great. Good night, everybody.
I like that.
You've been listening to the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. Grab a beer with the guys and be sure to subscribe to catch additional content. Add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. Chat with the guys on Twitter at Brewmasters Club and Facebook and online at www.brewmasters.club. Cheers!